Mr. Rosedale? Chatty Kathy. It's 9 o'clock and it's the time on our schedule for our weekly business meeting. And if you'll stand with me, Janine Shepherd will open us in prayer.
Almighty God, we come to you and ask for your blessing to be on this meeting today. Please give the commissioners wisdom for dealing with issues today and for decisions that need to be made. We pray that you help the commissioners in their marriages, helping them to be strong husbands and lead their families well. Bless their families and help them to be strong fathers. Help their kids to be strong in you, Lord. And if there are any that are wandering, we ask that you bring them back. And I actually pray that for everyone here, Lord. Give them good health and healing of anything that is out of alignment with your perfect will, Lord, and help their bodies to be healed and whole. I pray that all of us present here would have a deep longing for the Lord, that the Lord's power and anointing would be upon us. Ephesians 3:16 through 19 says, I pray that out of his glorious riches, he may strengthen you with power through his Spirit in your inner being, so that Christ may dwell in your hearts through faith. And I pray that you, being rooted and established in love, may have power together with all the Lord's holy people to grasp how wide and long and high and deep is the love of Christ, and to know that this love that surpasses knowledge, that you may be filled to the measure of all the fullness of God. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thanks, Janine. You can follow me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay.
Okay, you ready?
Yep.
Mr. Chairman, I move to adopt the order of agenda as presented.
I would second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Steve?
I did first.
Oh, did you? Okay. Didn't hear you. Sorry. Motion passes. Let's go ahead and go to public comment. We have one person signed up, Dan.
We might as well have Mike stand up because he's giving
Mike?
all kinds of.
Yeah, Mike, you seem to be commenting a lot back there. Sugar before the meeting again? Is that what? Yeah. Go ahead, Dan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Will you please come over to the mic and identify yourself for the record?
Dan Rose for the record. I come before you under Title I, Section 200 of the Bonner County Ordinance to request two items. The first being an A and B and the second standing by itself, that they be added to the agenda for discussion at the next meeting. And the first one, 1A, is a comment on the ARPA, the Local Fiscal Recovery Fund allotment to the county of $8.87 million. And number B, the ordinance reflecting hard fiber optic on county property and rights of way and easements, also related to that upper $8.87 million potential funding. And secondly, discussion on the waiver of tax theft, I call it, of foregone balances, and in discussion related to that matter on any of the subjects that the Board of Commissioners decides to engage in. The very existence of it, the length of it, the waiver of it, all of that needs to be discussed openly and publicly, and I wish that be done at the next meeting.
Okay, that's a state issue. That's not a county commissioner's issue.
Foregone tax is
We
the
don't
county.
make up the rules. We waived it last year.
Under the ordinance, this is not a discussion to be held now, it's to be held next week.
But I'm just saying, there's no point in having a discussion that we don't control the rules on foregone.
Yes, you do.
If there's a question on how much foregone we have and all that, I can tell you.
Yeah, so the issue of foregone tax is that the commissioners get to keep that balance on the books by their decision. That needs to be discussed. That is your,
We can't go back and erase what's on there. We erased it last year. What was last year's contribution? We can't go back and erase what was on there. That's a state issue.
it's the Board of Commission's decision.
We can't go, Mike, correct me if I'm wrong. We can't go back and.
You can leave it.
Otherwise, you can handcuff or decap it or
Right.
follow you if you didn't like
It wouldn't be wise.
summary.
The key is to elect good commissioners that don't want to use foregone, like us.
Okay, this is the discussion I would like to have next week, but if you want to have it today, I will.
Well, why don't you go ahead and work with our office to see if we can get it on the schedule for next week? Oh, that's right. We're down doing Board of Equalization training. So we're not here next week.
Okay, so I'd like items 1A and B put on the agenda for the next meeting.
Process, and there's a way to do things. So I'd really like to work with the office and maybe board. The first one,
Well, I'm hoping that's not the case, and that's why I'm repeating it. 1A and 1B were discussion of the ARPA money.
Yeah, and why don't we do this? Why don't you, after the meeting, you can work with Jesse to figure out what the 1A and 1B are and see how that fits in.
Okay, but under county ordinance,
You're out of time.
yeah, well, if I wasn't interrupted, I think it would have sat. But under county ordinance, this
It's a
comment period,
pointless conversation at this point, Dan. I said, work with Jesse and get it on, see if we can get it on the agenda for 2 weeks. But she has to be clear as to what you want to discuss, so we know.
Okay.
we're
I would just say that this public comment time is that a time for me to voice to you the ability to
Really
put that
wanna
on the
have this
agenda.
Right now,
Thank you very
I'm
much.
trying to help you get it on the agenda. You're arguing against that. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else want to comment?
Time's up.
You have 10 seconds. Congressman.
Kevin Moore for the record. And so, yeah, I mean, I commiserate with what Mr. Rose is saying here. And so this just helps the public, now that we have more access or whatever, helps the public to be a little more heads up on some things that are on people's minds, on their issues that they are trying to let the public be
Yeah.
more appraised of.
Yeah, we have a process to get it on the agenda. It's not a big deal, but we have to follow the process.
We could even have like a workshop if you want
Yeah.
to talk about specific things so that we could have a public meeting that doesn't take up an hour's worth of time having a discussion on, what.
Things that we
people are
can't discuss
thinking
right now.
about,
Yeah.
So there's some things we can do to just talk about specific topics.
Well, you just said something about taking an hour's time. There was only like 3 minutes plus or minus.
Now, come on, Kevin, you're not gonna hold me. What I was suggesting is if you put it on a business meeting and it takes up to an hour's worth of time having a discussion about something that we could have a meeting to have those 3 or 4 topics discussed just for that. You see what I'm getting? So you wouldn't have to be a time frame. You could have an open and long as
Mhm.
discussion as you want. That's what my point is.
Yeah.
And it's a public meeting and it could be broadcasted. It could be everything that. Come on.
Yeah, this
What I'm
is our
saying
business.
We're
meeting.
trying to give you an avenue to make this happen.
Well, I appreciate your clarifying. Thank you.
That'd be 40.
Bill, did you have anything you want to say? Okay, good. Just wanna make sure. Well, you were making funny faces over there, so I just want to, okay. All righty, any other public comment? Seeing none, let's move along to consent agenda.
All right, Mr. Chairman, based on the information before us, I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
And I'll second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any question or comment? Doug?
Patterson for the record. Where is Monkey Mountain?
Right next to Banana.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where Monkey Mountain is. Milton, do you know where Monkey Mountain is?
I'm sure he does, right?
You've got the plat,
Okay.
south part of the county.
Old House Road, 54 North Range Street West, section 26.
Thank you.
Right there, right where it says. Go ahead. You have a question about Monkey Mountain?
Well, yeah, because it's interesting. I'm glad that Doug asked that because Granite Mountain, whatever, this is where all this construction redoing the I-95. So is this connected with some what's going on with that?
No,
No, no. That's a state. This is a separate issue.
it's an
I
MLD.
thought it might be connected like.
It's 4.
Yeah, it's a minor land division. Okay, anybody else have a question about Monkey Mountain? How many
I love
monkeys
it when
are
you
on,
say
how
it
many
like that.
monkeys do you have to have for it to
Enough
constitute it
monkeying around.
being called Monkey Mountain?
Welcome back.
Okay, with that, let's, any other questions on the actual consent agenda? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Okay, moving along to engineering. Spencer,
Yeah, enough monkeying around.
Spencer, can you go say a few things about Monkey Mountain while you're up? Do you?
Spencer Ferguson, Engineering Department. On December 29th, the Engineering Department, in partnership with the Public Works Department, requested permission to obtain qualifications from interested architectural consulting firms to furnish a design and construction documents for a new EMS station and office building to be located at 1314 Ontario Street. After reviewing the qualifications of several firms, the engineering department recommends that Bonner County retain H2A architects for the services outlined in the attached scope of work for the amount of $295,500. The contract will be funded using Object 9918-9480 capital construction for $200,000, with the remaining portion coming from EMS unanticipated revenue.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, based on the information before us, I move that the board sign the contract authorizing H2A architects to proceed with the design and bidding for the proposed EMS Station 1 and office facility. Hello.
$500,000 to duplicate what we just did.
Not a half a
It's
million.
295.
No, this is
but-
this is across the street. This isn't the little one.
Oh, okay. I think out of blank. All right, I'm with you. I'll second that. How about that?
Okay.
I'm good with that.
We have a
No more
motion.
monkeying around.
We have a motion in a second. Any question or comment? Go ahead, Dave.
Too much fun this morning.
Dave Van Natter for the record. Are you rebuilding the old Northern Lights building or is it a whole separate new from
Yeah,
scratch?
we have to take it down.
You're taking the old Northern Lights stuff down and then you're going to build something just right over
Yeah,
here
we
across
looked
the
at trying
street.
to use it and it's just not structurally sufficient enough, especially for an EMS.
So EMS garage, living facilities and their entire office type of
Air
situation.
offices And
Yep.
additional offices.
Yeah, there's gonna be some
County.
additional admin offices because we're also gonna move DMV out of Ponderay as well. So we get rid of that rent and the rent we're paying.
Oh,
over
nice.
Over by the hospital.
And roughly how many square feet
Right now, I think.
or round?
8,000.
Okay, square around, they have to count the same. Okay, thank you.
Go ahead, Dan.
Dan Rose for the record. What is the capital construction fund balance account?
What do you mean, what is it?
He,
Out of EMS?
How much?
no, I think EMS is paying for some of it and then some of it's coming out of construction, capital construction.
That's EMS's in their line.
It's all EMS's line, nothing.
It'll all be proportioned out.
Does the capital construction have a line item amount number?
200. Capital
Yeah, what's in there?
construction is
Do you
200.
remember off the top of your head? You can meet with Mike afterwards. He can get that for you. I don't remember off the top of my head. Hey, go ahead, Kevin.
Get more for the record. So the 200 and then the total of 295, that's for the architecture and the building of it, or this is just for the architects?
It's just for the design and the specifications.
We're at this place in history, whatever, $300,000 for the architects to,
Yeah, when you look at an EMS facility, it's not like building a house. There are certain specific requirements because of the classification type on the building that have to be attained. Plus, we got to deal with the city of Sandpoint and all their stuff. So
I had a similar response, but then after talking to Spencer about it and looking at the others around, it's in line.
right, it's not out of
I mean-
line. I don't know the last time was you built it.
Yeah,
Building like that.
Commercial building's a different monkey altogether.
Yep.
well, I think probably a lot of people have had construction in the past, whatever, and so we know that there's differences in building, but it's like, it seems like we're getting into rocket science now.
Nope, no rockets. Wait,
Trust
Doug.
me, we'd rather put more into the building and less into the engineering.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily pan out.
Right there. Doug Patterson for the record. So there were other quotes. Can you tell us what the other quotes were dollar wise?
So this was what happens when we procure professional services is we have to go out for qualifications.
Yeah, it's
and
called an
select-
RFQ, request for
select-
qualifications.
A design firm based on their qualifications. So we did that. This firm met all our requirements for completing the project. And this is the amount they provided to complete the work that we wanted. And so we selected them. So we select them based on qualifications, not necessarily went out for bid. So-
Yeah, it's a different process for design.
I understand $300,000 without a brick.
You know how them engineers.
Go ahead, Kevin.
Kevin Moore for the record. And so do we have a time frame when we think this might happen, whatever, the start of physically doing this? And probably, if we're doing 300,000 for the architecture, this is probably a $500,000 project or
It's-
more.
It's more than that. It's architecture and engineering. It's the whole ball of wax here.
So it's
And
around,
it's construction oversight as well. It's project documents. It's this firm is
Specs,
gonna
drawings.
aid us in constructing the building, bidding the building and processing the project documents.
So is there a
request.
time frame that we think that this is going to happen?
well, we have a lot of hopes, but
Yeah.
with the construction the way it is we'd like to see it done within the next 18 months.
Yeah.
I don't know that that's even a possibility, but.
And so all this money that we would put into this, besides the architecture, what the real physically building of it, whatever amount that might be, that is, and I got a little confused, we were talking about capital, I call it general fund. And so this money is coming out of, we're going to do a bond or levy like our 8.7 million for our waste management. How do we fund or pay for this?
Probably not.
We're gonna look at
We're gonna-
all, we're gonna
we've
look
got-
at all kinds of different.
Yeah, we've got
ways
about
to get
4
it.
different funding avenues that we're going to work on. But go ahead, Dan.
Does HQA stand for a certain name, and what other companies did bid on this or were consulted on this by name?
It's H2A. They're out of Coeur d'Alene. So they're H2A architects. We got qualifications from Architects West. We got 4 in total. I'm trying to remember their names. We got 5.
Teddy's got her hand
Oh, we
up like
got
she
4.
knows
We
something.
got 4.
Architects West, Design West? No. Did Design West bid?
Yeah, Yeah, there's, Lombard and something.
Yeah.
And then there was a Design West and an Architects West, and there was H2A. So one was out of Coeur d'Alene, one was out of Boise, one was out of Spokane. The other one was, I think the other one was Spokane as well, if I'm remembering correctly.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Nice.
Aye. Motion passes. Thanks, Spencer. Moving along to solid waste. Bob?
Morning, Commissioners. Bob Howard for the record. Bonner County Solid Waste Advisory, the Bonner County Solid Waste Advisory Committee has 1 member who resigned and 1 member requesting reappointment to the Solid Waste Advisory Committee. Both members' terms begin 4/24/21, ending 4/24/24. Advertisements placed in the Bonner County Daily Bee requesting applications. After reviewing the applications, we're requesting that we reappoint Carl Wright to the advisory board and appoint Dan Craner to the Solid Waste Advisory.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, based on the information before us, I move to approve resolution 2021-41 to reappoint Carl Wright and appoint Dan Craner to the Solid Waste Advisory Committee.
And I'll second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion to second. Any question or comment?
Kevin Moore for the record. So we typically just have 2 people on this committee then?
No, there's more than that. There's several people. There's probably 5 or 6. There's 6.
I think there's,
It's just that some terms are up and some resigned.
And this one here, you mentioned from 21 to 24, so it's typically a 3-4 year period.
Correct.
Again,
Dan Rose, for the record, we're both Carl Wright and Dan Craner have their applications filed by the deadline that was identified. Thank you.
okay, any other question or comment? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
aye.
Aye, motion passes. Thanks, Bob. Let's go to, well, you're up here again. Bob, go sit down and come back up.
Okay. So
Emergency
this
management.
memorandum of understanding is between Bonner County and Idaho Department of Lands for a grant award in the amount of $100,000 for hazardous fuels treatment associated with the bonfire program. Funds identified will be used for the Nordman Fuel Breaks project in Priest Lake area adjacent to the U.S. Forest Service Lakeview Reader project. There is no cost share with this grant, and this has been reviewed by legal and approved.
Okay, thanks, Bob.
Mr. Chairman, based on the information before us, I move that the county approve the memorandum of understanding grant number 20 HFR1 Bonner in the amount of 100,000 and allow the chair to sign.
Second that.
Okay, we have a motion second. Any question or comment? Kevin?
Get more for the record. $100,000 is grant, right?
Yep.
Okay. So is that typically what's been happening? And this is for fire suppression?
It's for hazardous fuel treatment. We go in and we clear out the ladder fuels on private land to provide a more defensible space for landowners when there's wildfire in the area.
So it's $100,000 typically what we've been getting?
Yeah, that's an average.
And this is something a citizen can come and apply for help, monies, whatever, to help them clean up an area?
Correct.
Okay, any other question or comment? Go ahead, Dan.
Dan Rose, for the record. Does this come out of Forest Practices Act money with IDL?
It comes through.
Fed money.
I think we have to answer.
It comes from the Forest Service through the state to us.
Right.
But it's not the Forest Assessment money or Forest Practices Act money that,
It's healthy forest.
No,
okay, thank
it's
you.
rather feds. Okay, any other question or comment? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Thank you, Bob. Move along to treasurer. Cheryl Peel.
Good morning, Commissioners. Good morning, everyone. I'm asking you to approve the transfer of $200 from the treasurer's account to the noxious weed department's petty cash fund. They establish, they rent out sprayers for the upcoming season and they need change when people rent the machine.
$200 a lot of money.
I know, it's just procedural.
All right. Mr. Chairman, I move. that
It's
the
not
board-
monkey business.
Is it on Monkey Mountain though?
The Board
Go
of
ahead.
County Commissioners authorize the county treasurer to transfer a large sum of $200 from the treasurer's account to the noxious weed department's petty cash drawer.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any question or comment? You.
Oh, no,
I just
really?
wanted to say happy birthday.
Oh.
Jesse, you're in big trouble.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Cheryl. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you,
Today she is
everyone.
29.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
I'm
we
going
don't talk about
backwards
age in here.
now. My mom told me once you reach a certain age, you get to count backwards, right, Jeff?
That's it. I'm there. I'm right there with you, Cheryl.
Perfect.
Jesse, I'll get even.
We know what it is, but it's a secret.
She's 29.
Uh-huh.
Okay, are there any other question or comment about transferring $200 for petty cash for the weed department? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Thank you, Cheryl. Happy birthday again. Road and Bridge, Mr. Clapp.
Morning, Commissioners. This is an entertaining meeting.
It is.
To say the least.
Glad to see there's a little monkey business around the Commissioner's office. Steve Cloud, Road and Bridge Director, for the record. The item we have here is our annual award of the mag chloride bid. We had two suppliers that bid on this. Envirotech is the recommended lower bid. We've had questions about, because we go through with all three districts, a phenomenal quantity of this in pretty short order when we are in business. We had questions about were they prepared really to deliver the product to us on time and as we needed it. We went through those, reviewed with them. They assured us they can meet our delivery schedules. So with that, we would recommend to the commissioners that we award this bid to Envirotech for an adjusted amount of 3,810 tons at a price of 129.87 per ton.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I move to revise the quantities to 3,810 tons and award this contract of magnesium chloride to Envirotech Services Incorporated for the unit price submitted for the total amount of $494,804.70 and authorize the chairman to sign this notice of award administratively.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any question or comment? Anybody? Whoever gets the
Lauren
mic first.
Patterson for the record. Just wondering where Envirotech Services is?
They're actually out of Coeur d'Alene.
Dan, why don't you go next?
Little levity here. Magnesium chloride, that's a water absorbing type.
Yes, it's a water absorbed. It's basically a saline solution in water.
And that has nothing to do with the retail monkey butt powder that does the same thing?
Completely different.
There's been no correlation between the two.
Unproven.
Go, he was next. Go ahead. Kevin.
Kevin Moore for the record. And so, yeah, I'm glad Dan asked that question because I didn't realize this is a liquid then.
Yes.
It is.
Because I was thinking maybe it was more rocky or whatever, and you just spread it out like a rock, but I appreciate that. And so $129.87 per, what was it?
Ton.
Per ton.
Per
It's
ton.
water, but we're doing it by the ton.
Yeah. Water has weight.
And so is that typically what we've been paying for this through the years? And so if a price per ton changes up or down or whatever, then you change the amount that you want to bring in as per you have a set price at the beginning of the year in your budget for how much you can spend or the commissioners will allow you to spend.
Yes, Kevin, that is exactly right. Our budget is $495,000 that we put into mag chloride. Is our budget for the year. So this price this year was actually $10 a ton lower than the other bid and nearly $10 a ton less than we paid last year. So price was very competitive.
Good.
Mag chloride.
Name?
Doug Patterson for the
Thank you,
record
Doug.
one more time again. Mag chloride. So you use that for dust suppression on the dirt roads?
Dust abatement, yes.
What about melting of snow and ice in winter?
We do not, getting off topic, but we do not use this. It's a different calibration of product. There's a similar, the state uses a saline pure salt solution that they put on the highways. There are some solid waste uses a mag chloride winter solution that they use. And the road department is looking at using a select program of salted sand in certain things, but mag chloride can be used. We do not use it. Solid waste uses a different calibration at their solid waste sites. The state uses saline solution, which is straight salt.
Thank you.
Okay. Go ahead, Kevin.
Kevin Moore for the record. So dust suppression. So depending on the weather we have each year determines how many times we really apply this.
No, the mag chloride is applied early in the year. There's a point where we already are getting dust complaints right now. And we're getting dust complaints because the surface of the road is dry, but the base of the road is not dry. When we apply mag chloride too early, mag chloride chases the moisture in the road. And that's why we water the road heavily as we apply the mag chloride. So we keep that and then it stays in the surface of the road, mixes with the water, mixes with the aggregates and the fines in the road, stays in the surface of the road. If the road base is too wet, the mag chloride goes after the moisture in the bottom of the road. But we only put mag chloride on at one time. And that's just, we put it on all across the whole county within about 2 or 3 weeks at this time of the year.
But every now and then we do supplement that, like in corners and stuff like that, when we get a area that is.
Right, and it's much less effective, but we go back in with roads that are heavily traveled that really are getting torn up, and then we have to go back in with water trucks and graders, water the road, turn the road over, water the road, turn the road over, and then apply mag chloride and go back in late in sometimes in the season.
Not very often.
We try not to do that.
We have a certain amount of budget. It's usually spent right off the bat.
Yep. Good.
Dave, the other huge benefit of that is it actually it will minimize the amount of times we have to grade the road every year too. So it sets it up nice. Dave Van Adder could drive a little faster and less grading.
As long as Dave can drive faster. The other issue too is that if you go back to the DEQ study from what was it, like the 70s when they were talking about air quality here?
It's in the 90s is when the air
90s.
quality.
And the biggest contributor was not from lumber mills, it was from gravel roads, dust from gravel roads. It was contributing to the poor air quality.
If you think about it, all the dust that goes up in the air on a gravel road is the fines that are in the gravel that's going into the air. So if you're losing, if your fines in your gravel are going up in the air and off the road, then you're losing your road surface and the quality of your road surface, and you end up then the gravel, the bigger pieces of gravel that are not held by the fines, and they go bouncing off the road, and pretty soon the road surface, and you lose tons of rock that every year that way. So.
Yep. Okay. Any other questions or comments? No? Okay. Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
The
Thank you,
lesson of the day.
Steve. Yep. This is like an after school stuff. Okay, recreation. Who's coming up? Make sure you introduce yourself for the record, sir.
Good morning. For the record, my name is Pete Hughes. I am the interim manager for Parks and Waterways, and I'll be speaking on Nate's behalf this morning. Item number 1, attached for your consideration is the Garfield Bay Campground Park Host contract naming Donald Sam Coleman as the park host for the 2021 season. Now, this is a weekly contract in the amount of $340 per week, starting the 3rd Friday in May, continuing until the 1st Thursday in July, and at the rate of $440 per week from the 1st Friday in July, continuing to the 3rd Thursday in September. The campground host will be paid bi-weekly to provide full-time services and will reside at the campground. This contract requires the contractor to carry general liability insurance.
Okay, thanks, Pete.
All right, Mr. Chairman, based on the information before us, I move that the county approve the 2021 Garfield Bay Campground host contract, naming Donald Coleman as campground host for the 2021 season.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any question or comment?
Kevin Moore, yeah, I do have a question or two. Have we used this person before, and is there a lot of people that want to do this? That there are people lined up, or?
Yes, we have used him before as a rehire, and generally there's not a lot of people.
No, we don't get a lot of interest. You want to live in an RV for the summer? Okay, any other question or comment? Maybe in a different county? No, I'm just kidding. Any other question or comment? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. No, we don't bury people in the parking lot.
That was a rumor.
We stopped that. We stopped that last month. No, it's the elevator. Yeah, the bottom of the elevator is a big cavity down there. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, item number 2, attached for your consideration is the Bonner Park West host.
We did. Yeah, I said all those in favor say aye. Aye, and I checked it off.
Just in case, aye.
Okay, go ahead, Pete.
Item number 2, attached for your consideration is the Bonner Park West host contract naming Tom Hool as the day use park host for Bonner Park West. This is a weekly contract amount of $300 per week, starting the 2nd Friday in May, and will continue every week thereafter until the 3rd Thursday in September. The park host will be paid bi-weekly to maintain the park and day use facilities.
Okay, thanks, Pete.
Mr. Chairman, based on the information before us, I move that the county approve the 2021 Bonner Park West host contract, naming Tom Hool as the park host for Bonner County West. The contract will pay $300 per week, starting the second Friday in May, and will continue every week thereafter until the third Thursday in September.
Second that.
Okay, we have a motion, a second. Dan?
Dan Rose for the record is, what's the definition of a host contractor? Does that, are they a county employee or are they separate independent contractor that does not get Percy?
It's
They're not, they don't get Percy, it's their temporary employee. It's contract.
Temporary employee
Yeah,
of the
even
county?
if- Yeah, even if they were, it wasn't a contract, they have to work so many hours to actually be involved with Percy, so.
Okay,
this
but
is
it,
Seasonal.
but it's a, how do we say, is it an independent contract or is it a county employee?
We're contracting with them. Independent contract. And if anybody noticed that the fee for Priest River is different than the one for different responsibilities. Did you have a
Hear
question
ya,
or comment?
Mike. You're gonna have to speak up.
When's Nate's last day? He doesn't get one, he has to stay.
We haven't decided yet. We'll let him go when we're done with it.
I want to recognize him. Yeah. Judge.
I recognize him. I saw him when I came in.
Buchanan said she's going to make him a ward of the county, so he's stuck up.
Okay, any other question or comment, or Mike, did you have any other things you'd like to say right now? Oh, did you have sugar before you came in today? Very chatty. Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Thanks, Pete. And with that, it is 9:36, and we'll go ahead and recess this meeting and come back in 5 minutes for exec.
Cheryl, happy birthday.